Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pickleball and Politics, where I combine my quest to stay out of the kitchen with my passion for politics. As you know, last night was the State of the Union. I can honestly tell you that when I went to bed last night, my mind didn't shut off. I was thinking about the 100 things that I could come on here and talk to you about today. I've tried to narrow it down to just a few, okay? Because it would be an 8-hour. It would last 5 times longer than the State of the Union did. Okay, number one, let's talk about the fact that Joe Biden was late last night. He was late about 20 minutes because of the pro-Hamas protesters that were all over D.C. doing roadblocks and everything else. Expect to see them soon in your town, because I have a feeling that is a movement that is growing. And as long as the conflict is going on with Gaza and Israel, they pro-Hamas protesters, they've got their call to action, and they're out there, and they kept the president late last night. Now let's talk about the Democratic women. They were all in their suffrage white. Yeah, they're still talking about suffrage in 1920. That was the 19th Amendment, for those of you who forgot which amendment it was. Yeah, they're still in solidarity with their suffrage sisters in 1920. And well, except for AOC, she wore black. I guess she wasn't included on the group text. I don't know what that was all about. And then we had Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was in her MAGA gear. She had her MAGA hat. She had a nice red blazer, and she had a T-shirt that said, "Say her name." We know what name she's talking about. She's talking about Laken Riley. But if you're Joe Biden, you call her Lincoln Riley. And the buried lead in that story is that Nancy Pelosi scolded Joe Biden for using the term illegal as opposed to undocumented. But this was what the real buried lead is. I'm going to play you a clip right now, okay? This is Nancy on CNN.
I didn't see any Republican buttons.
Laken Riley.
Lincoln Riley.
An innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand.
We know.
Now, you should have said undocumented, but that's not a big thing, okay? What's the big thing about it?
No, I actually wasn't even going to ask
about that.
I was just going
Undocumented?
to ask more about the moment, but you do think that he should have said undocumented? That wasn't going to be my question.
Well, we usually say undocumented. He said illegal. I don't think it's a big deal.
Okay.
They're trying to make the fact that he said illegal versus undocumented the story. You know why? Because Joe Biden went off script and he admitted that Laken Riley, yeah, Joe, you still didn't say her name because you called her Lincoln, was killed by an illegal. That's the real story. That's the border crisis. That's the problem we have in this country. Millions of people, we have no idea who they are and what their history is. But they buried the lead with using illegal versus undocumented. That's BS. And then we have this second story. And this also drove me crazy, thought about it all night. And that was Biden talking about going to Moscow for cheap insulin. Let's listen to that clip.
Air Force One and fly to Toronto, Berlin, Moscow. Even Moscow, probably.
Let's go to Moscow, all of us.
And bring your prescription with you, and I promise you I'll get it for you for 40% the cost.
I wonder if they'll take it.
Same company, same drug, same place.
Yeah.
Folks,
Did Joe Biden just said that we should go to Moscow for our medicine? And everybody clapped. Yes, it's cheaper in Moscow. How come a couple of weeks ago, Tucker went to he got his little carriage and he went to the supermarket in Moscow and he got raked across the coals because he was showing how much cheaper everything was in Moscow than it was here in the States. But Joe's applauded. That's the hypocrisy. That is the left and their hypocrisy. Yeah, let's rip apart Tucker Carlson when he displays the obvious But let's clap for Joe when he says we should take our prescription and get on Air Force One and go to Moscow. I wonder if Putin will make us show ID. That's all I got to say about that. Now, another thing that drove me crazy the whole night was Mike Johnson. That man is a pansy. He complied, and he showed everyone watching that he was just going to be a good little Republican, and he was going to sit on his hands all night, and he'd maybe give a little scowl. Yeah. He had given instructions to the Republican members to please not disrupt the president, that it looked bad on them and they looked disrespectful, and that we needed to maintain a sense of decorum in the chamber. Well, you know what? What you showed America is that you will just sit there and listen and do nothing. You might have a little smug look on your face, but you showed the world that you'll just comply. At the end of the day, you will just comply. You have no fight in you. I do not know why he is the speaker. He is a wimp. I'm sorry. He is a wimp. Shut down the government. Shut down the border. We've got another continuing resolution coming up soon. Please, just shut it down. Shut it down. Unless you shut the border, shut government. That's how I feel. He just sat there, no reaction, showing he was going to be compliant. And then the final straw that broke the camel's back for me last night was, that Katie Britt. Was she maybe the worst Republican rebuttal we could have had? Horrible. She was dreadful. It was like she was auditioning for some seasonal allergy commercial. I guarantee you tomorrow night she will be a skit on Saturday Night Live. I bet you the comedians on SNL. I don't watch Saturday Night Live, so I should just call it Saturday Night Live and not SNL. The comedians, they were probably calling up Lorne Michael, please let me play her, please, 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 please. It was horrible. She was horrible. And what bothered me the most is that I know there were people who went over the content. They went over her delivery. That was all approved. And she came off looking dreadful, as I said, and making Republicans just look so inadequate. I'm watching it and I'm thinking, am I being trolled here? Like, is this a joke? It was horrible. But what's worse is that somebody approved what she said and how she said it. And that makes me wonder, does the GOP want to win the next election? Do the powers that be in Washington? Yeah, the swamp. Does the Uniparty want anything to change? No. They are so afraid that Donald Trump will become president again that they gave us that as a rebuttal. We just had an hour and a half of Joe Biden campaign speech. And you brought us that? You brought us her in her kitchen? Auditioning for an allergy medicine? It was just horrible. The content, the delivery, dreadful. And it seemed deliberate to me. Anyways, that's what I have to say about the State of the Union. I could go on and on and on, but I really tried to narrow my bullet points. So tell me what you thought of the State of the Union. I thought the whole night was just a colossal mess. I really did. Like I said at the beginning, you can follow me on X Everybody's calling it X now. I think I'll forever call it Twitter because I've been on Twitter like 20 years. So it's hard. X at Pickle and Paul. You can go to Getter or Instagram at Pickleball and Politics. Or you can leave a message for me right here on my YouTube channel, pickleballandpolitics.com. No, Pickleball and Politics on YouTube, but I got a pickleballandpolitics.com too. So as I said, leave me a message, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I write back, you write to me, I write back, and we go back and forth. Tell me what you thought about Joe Biden, about Mike Johnson, about MTG, about Moscow, Tucker Carlson. Mention it all. All right, until next time, I'll see you again soon on Pickleball and Politics.